Hello everybody, this is Manju from Ayurhitam. I'm gonna just close all of these. Hope you're all having fun Friday evening. I know I can't believe I've been doing this live for a few weeks now without interruption. I know some things that we have to be grateful for. I think it's only because of these COVID situations and these lockdown situations that we have some predictable schedule. Usually there's some running around all the time behind kids or something or the other, and there's not so much predictability. But now that there's some predictability, I'm glad that most of us are using it for some constructive use. And thank you for those of you that joined and making use of this ancient wealth for you. Today's topic, I'm going to just pin that topic quickly. So it's going to be mainly question and answers. If you have any question and answers, you can definitely ask me. Mostly about the common health practices. And especially there are so many myths about common health practices. So you can ask me those questions and I will be able to answer. To begin with, I will be giving you few of the common health practices and a few myths behind it. But in between, feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions, and I'll answer as I go along or answer at the end, depending on how the flow goes. So let's talk about few health practices that we choose to make. And of course, the goal is to remain healthy. And because we want to remain healthy, we want to go to sources and find out what are the good choices that will help us remain healthy for a longer time. Usually, I just found out that when I was with a group of friends, we were doing a video chat with a group of friends, and one friend said that there was a bee sting for one of her family member. Immediately everybody went Google searching what to do when there's a bee sting, and there's a range of things that's listed, which is very good that it's a first aid and there's information that's available. That would not be my first instinct, but I was impressed at how everybody looked at Google search and they were able to find so many remedies for bee sting. So the same thing, if you are looking for any solutions for a condition that you're dealing with, there are many natural remedies that you will find. You'll find a range of, it's like a menu card. You'll find a range of natural remedies that is available on the web. And of course, you will look at the most commonly used and the most successful remedy, and you would want to use it for yourself. However, when you're making these choices, you have to understand what is happening inside your own body, break it down, and find out what this particular practice, this particular herb, this particular lifestyle will do to me. Some practices and herbs have become very, very famous, and we all want to incorporate it. But really, we must understand how they work, what quantity we should give it in, what formulation we must be giving it in, what time it must be administered, is there a certain order. All of this must be understood before using it, before making it a routine practice. If you're using it just for once or twice, it's okay. But if you're making it your own routine practice, I request that you do your research. How long has this practice been? And what is the reasoning behind this practice? Will this practice really work for me or not? Make it a decision. And especially with the Ayurveda, what we do is anything that is administered into the body is given with a carrier. It has like a postal address that we put. It has a carrier it goes to. It will say, go to this certain area and work in that certain area. And we can also make a choice of either overnighting it, meaning do the action very quickly, or say, okay, let's do it in a 3-day window. we can wait. We can just do ground shipping, slowly act upon it. So there's certain things that you have to, it's not like a light switch that you turn it on. It's like a cake bake. You take some time and achieve few things, but few things are super quick as well. So let's talk about few lifestyle practices and herbs, foods that we commonly used, and explore them. That's really what we're going to do. So first thing I wanted to talk about is the immunity drinks and concoctions that we have been doing. Because of the situation that we have been dealing with for the past 6 months, building up immunity has been the thing. I know everybody I speak to, almost everybody I speak to, have a certain concoction. They even ask me, what is the concoction that you drink every day to keep you safe? I know they make a concoction with ginger, with fresh ginger, or with peppers, cumin, whatever herbs are found, peppers, whatever herbs are found in the kitchen. A concoction is made and it is forcefully given to all the family members. One person believes in it and it's forcefully given to everybody in the family, so that we can remain immune to whatever we might have to face, which might be true to an extent. However, understand that overdoing it for certain people, especially ginger, is very, very heating. It's very piercing. Peppers, black peppers, are very heating, very abrasive. If you are doing it more and more again and again, and a common practice is to add honey to this concoction. That's another thing that's added when it's warm and it is taken first thing in the morning. Yes, it will take out the mucus layer that you have, definitely true. But along with the mucosal layer, it will also damage your own tissue. It's like carefully cleaning a wall. If a wall has something written on it, or if there is something that you have to clear the wall off, if you use something very abrasive, then it will take the paint of the wall too. It might chip the wall off as well. Again, it will take a lot of time to reconstruct the wall. Would that be a good choice? Or slowly try to cajole and remove the layer on top of the wall. Is that a good choice? So make a choice for yourself. Making it quick and abrasive is probably not a good choice. Understand what is happening. And a lot of times people come to me saying there are mouth ulcers. There's a lot of mouth ulcers. I broke out into acne. I feel very hot. There's night sweats. My throat is burning. There's burning sensation in the tummy. There's sour burps. There's acidity that's coming up. So many things are coming up, especially after taking these immunity drinks. So taking it is good, but knowing the correct quantity of herbs that you have to add is also good. Understand your constitution. If there is a lot of mucus, you think you're already a mucus producing person, then yes, you can use fresh ginger every day. But if you're not that person, it's probably best to avoid fresh ginger every day. You can just use the ginger. Dry ginger is a good option in that case. Dry ginger has some moisture in it and it's not so heating. So you can use that in that situation. Or you can deal with the situation when you're facing it, when you have to take care of it. You don't have to proactively take care of it by taking these immunity drinks. That's what I wanted to say. And most of the times, even for coughs, people start taking the ginger juice with honey. Is a very, very common combination that works like magic for any coughs or colds that has expressive mucus. However, if you keep on taking it, this cough converts into dry cough. And you're like, oh, it worked first, and now I'm coughing again. Let me take more ginger and more honey. This is going to dry you more, and the dry cough is going to increase more. So you're going to end up in another extreme, which is very, very difficult to deal with. So take the medication only until what is necessary. Do not overdo it because it did you good at one point of time or it did good for one of your friends. So that's the first thing I wanted to tell you about. The second lifestyle practice that a lot of people do is taking coffee enemas, hydrotherapy, or water enemas for evacuating bowels. When there is a lot of bowels stuck, there is constipation. You're giving this very strong, piercing coffee enemas. Then of course, whatever is stuck will come out. Again, the same analogy is happening in a different direction. The same analogy we spoke about, that you're damaging the wall when you're trying to take the painting off, when you're trying to take whatever is on the wall. If there is a writing on the wall that you want to clear off, or if there is any small speck of dust that you're trying to clean off, but you're using a big explosive to clean it off, you're damaging the wall, right? The same thing will happen to your intestinal lining. If you're using coffee enemas, it's very, very sharp. It will take out your bowel movement. Along with that, it will cause a lot of abrasion to your intestinal walls. So remember, there could be some kind of bleeding that can happen. There could be some kind of ulcers that can be developed. Instead, Ayurveda has a good way of giving bastis. It's an enema, but these enemas always have oil along with it. There are different kinds of enemas that are given depending on the situation. If the cleansing is needed, yes, there are cleansing type, there are decoction enemas that are given, but these decoction enemas are always given with oil, so that that layer, the intestinal layer, is coated with this oil, and whatever the bowels that are there or whatever toxins that are there are removed with this decoction. And every time this decoction is given, only after an oil enema is given. An oil enema is first given so that there is a protection that is done for the intestinal lining, and then a decoction enema is given to remove the toxin, followed up by another oil enema, again to protect. So that is how you have to make sure treatment is in such a way that your body must not be affected. Your goal is to remove the toxins, but keep the body intact. It's not like you're cleaning the house, and along with the house you can chip the furniture, you can chip the walls, you can chip the floor, and that's okay. No, it's not okay. Your goal is to clean the house without damaging it. So I want you to keep that analogy in mind and think about the practices that you want to take. The other lifestyle practice I wanted to speak about is also about 24-hour workout centers that we have. We're in a culture that workout is necessary, and Ayurveda definitely says so, that workout is necessary, exercise is necessary. But there is a certain time of the day designed for it. We have 24-hour workout centers, and I'm surprised how, now maybe with the shelter in place, that's not the scenario, but usually people work out in the wee hours, late hours in the night, like it's midnight, 1 a.m., because that's the time they find to work out. But again, that's the time that you have to take rest. You are wiring yourself, you're changing your own biological clock, and your nervous system will forget what to do at what time. It's like, oh, isn't it time to sleep? But then you're making me work out. What do I do? And it gets so wired up that it cannot go to sleep. It'll forget the pattern of sleep, and then future we might suffer with insomnia. Yes, you are getting your workout, But in the future, you might suffer with insomnia, which could become chronic. You don't know how to get back. You're like, what to do? And take a lot of other medications, but that doesn't calm you down because your body is naturally now used to getting wired up when it's late in the night. So, working out in the early part of the day is definitely recommended, and do not get so much wired up in the nighttime. That's the third thing that I wanted to talk about in the lifestyle and practices. And one more thing I wanted to talk about in lifestyle is showering after eating is a big no-no. When I was growing up, I was always told this, do not ever shower after eating, and I never knew what the concept was. It was always okay, my elders told me, and I would just listen to them. And that's all. I wouldn't even question back. But when I started studying Ayurveda, it clearly said that when you eat, the food comes and it gets settled in your abdomen. It is digesting there. When you go shower, what happens is with that force of water, the food that is settled there in one place will move. And your body does not know what to do. Should I digest the food, or I'm showering? What do I do? It's all moved, and your food will not be digested properly. So never shower after eating. Always make it a habit that you shower before eating and then eat your food. And the reason is that your food will not be digested if you expose to water if you're showering after you eat your food. And the last lifestyle and practice that I wanted to speak about is drinking water. This is the most common practice a lot of people do. Is drinking water is the therapy for anything and everything. Anything that I'm suffering from, people will easily say, oh, drink water, you flush out toxins and you'll be fine. But there is a limit to it. Yes, water is nectar. Water is important. And yes, 70% of us, we are made up of water. But that's mixed. That water is mixed along with our tissues. It is not just plain water that you see there. It's like that water that is mixed with your flour when you make a dough. That's how our tissues are. You cannot separate that water out from the dough, but you know how much water you have added in it, right? But if you add a lot more water, then that dough will not have its shape, will not have its consistency. Its consistency is loosened up. And that's exactly what will happen when you drink a lot of water. Saroja, I'll definitely answer that question later on. Thank you for asking. But again, if you drink lots of water, your consistency of your tissues will be lost. And again, remember that there's a lot of digestive fire in your body. And that digestive fire gets doused. When you add a lot of water, your fire gets doused. So there will not be enough fire to digest your food. So think about the amount of water you must drink. So we have a question here. What is the one drink in the morning one should take? I drink a glass of warm water after brushing in the morning. That's perfect. Definitely warm water is good in the morning, and just one glass is good, but not more than that. You do not have to take any specific. I know lemon and honey water is one other thing a lot of people take early in the morning. I definitely do not believe in taking that for a long term. Again, it's very abrasive to take lemon with hot water. And again, honey should never be heated. Honey, when you heat it, it becomes like a poison. It becomes like a slow poison. So I would not recommend that. Just drinking a cup of warm water is good enough in the morning. And if you're doing that, please continue to do that. You do not have to change anything. I know there is a lot of opinions that are going around, but when you look at the textbooks of Ayurveda, Ushapana is recommended, but just one glass of warm water is good enough. alkaline water, how to use it. Can you explain it a little more, Shweta Sriram? What alkaline water, what is it that is in it? Maybe to reduce the acidity in the body, there is this one that's recommended. I am not so much aware of it, but let me know what ingredients are there and we can talk about it. Maybe for a certain time that you can use it when you're suffering from a certain condition, like if there is a lot of acidity that you're trying to balance with alkaline, then maybe for a certain time you can use it, but I would not recommend using it as a daily practice for anybody. There must be some acidity that is underlying. Then you might be, again, I do not know what is in the alkaline water for me to exactly comment on that. But if you tell me what are the ingredients, I can certainly explain you more on that. So that's about the lifestyle and practices. About herbs, yeah, we'll talk about that at the end when about the alkaline water and free radicals. Definitely, we'll talk about that at the end. So the herbs, as the commonly used herbs, there's few common herbs that are used. They have gained popularity, and then people are like, oh my god, I'm probably not getting the goodness of those herbs, let me incorporate that. And the few herbs that comes to my mind are turmeric, there's triphala, there's ashwagandha, and chyawanprash. These have gained so much popularity that everybody wants to use it, like especially turmeric, taking it in pill form, taking it in your food, drinking it in water, adding it into your immunity drink. It's loaded, it's overloaded. If it's good, I want to overload it. I'm not saying everybody is doing this, but this is the common tendency that if it is good, I want more of it. Understand that turmeric has very good, there's curcumin in it, and they found anti-cancer properties in turmeric, and there are so many good things. It purifies blood. It is known to purify blood, and it has so many good properties. However, it also has kattu. It has that heating property in it. So if you're overusing it, you might be heating your body. It might increase heat in your body too. So there's a certain amount, and usually it is beautifully explained to us from our ancestors that you add turmeric to your cooking. So you're adding it along with your ghee or along with the oil that you're cooking, so that the heat content in it is reduced, it's easily digestible, and the heat content that you might get from the turmeric is reduced because of the ghee that you're taking along with it. And it's sometimes also recommended to take along with milk, so that again, that heat giving capacity of the turmeric is being reduced. And again, just a pinch is enough to get the goodness of it. It is not necessary to overdo it. Adding it to your curries like a seasoning, or just adding a pinch to your milk is good enough. It's not necessary to do a lot more. The next thing is triphala. A lot of times, usually people say that when there's constipation, instead of using Western herbs or Western medications, allopathic medications, I will take triphala. Triphala is natural and it's okay to take it. But you're taking, either you take a Western medicine, you're taking a docusate, or you're taking something to remove, or you're taking triphala to remove. You're not working from inside. What triphala does is, it is the ingredients in it, the 3 ingredients in it, they are very drying. Yeah, definitely, Madhuri, Shweta, and Saroja. I'll answer your questions at the end. So it's definitely good for you. There's so many benefits that triphala can give you, but it's very, very drying. So while helping you with the constipation, it might dry your intestinal lining. So when I give triphala for few days, not forever, not for lifetime, until you correct the situation and follow up, give it along with like a raisin water so that it's not that drying in your intestinal lining. Understanding that just taking a natural supplement is good enough and you don't have to worry about allopathic medications. If you take allopathic medications for constipation, it's bad, and if you can take the natural supplement for a lifetime, it's good. Take out that misunderstanding, I would say. Even though you're taking a natural supplement, it's not necessary that you have to take anything for a lifetime. You take it until that situation comes into balance, and then you have to train your body on how to work for you and not be dependent on any external thing. That's one thing. Again, the same thing with ashwagandha. A lot of people want to gain length, especially for kids. If they want to increase height, they give immediately ashwagandha, chyawanprash. These are the things that are easily given, but you have to understand is their digestive capacity. They're very guru, which means they're very heavy herbs. Ashwagandha is a heavy herb. Is my body able to digest it, or is this heaviness going to stay in my body as an undigested toxin? Even that can happen. You are taking herbs, but it's not necessary that they are digested if you do not have a digestive fire. So understanding if I have enough digestive fire, and then take your ashwagandha, that is okay. But do not just take ashwagandha because it has helped with someone else's height and it will also help with my child's height or my condition. The same thing with chyawanprash. A popular brand has advertised that it's okay to take it with milk, but it's never okay to take it with milk because there is the bigger amount of chyawanprash, it has amalaki in it. So, and which is sour in taste, and sour and milk should never be combined. In the ancient days, when they took chyawanprash, it was taken as a meal, as a breakfast itself. You would take the amount of chyawanprash that you can digest, and that's all. That was your breakfast, and you wouldn't eat anything until later in the day. And they would just stay on milk rice because there are some heating elements in there, heating herbs in there. So you take some cooling diet throughout. That's what it was designed for in the ancient days in the textbook. Now you can take 1 teaspoon of chyawanprash. It's okay, but do not combine with milk. Again, also make sure that you have enough digestive capacity. When it comes to foods, I know I spoke a lot about salads and green juices in my posts in the past, but I just want to reiterate that when people want to lose weight, they tend to go eat salads or eat juices or drink juices. That's the biggest thing. But Ayurveda has said no for those, and I can talk more if anybody has questions on that. I know I've taken a lot of time already and there are some questions. It's already been half an hour, but salads and green juices are not something that will give you enough nourishment, enough energy. So that's something that you must stay away from. And one more thing I wanted to talk about is sprouts. A lot of people are taking effort to eat sprouts, include sprouts in their diet, but understand that sprouts are one thing that increases all the doshas in the body because it is in the in-between stage. It has a lot of inherent heat in it. It's not completely a plant and it's not completely a seed. It's in that in-between stage. It's like that adolescent who doesn't even know what's happening. It's like when your flight is taking off, when it's on the ground, you're okay. You feel like you're stable. When you're in the air, you're fine, you're stable. When you're in midway, then that uncomfortable feeling comes. That's how it is with sprouts. So that's one thing you must not eat for health. If you're eating for taste purpose, if that's what you like, then absolutely go for it. But if you're eating it for health purpose and purposefully wanting to add it to your diet, maybe not. Maybe stay away from that. So that's what I wanted to speak about today. I will take any questions that are there. I'll just go in order. I heard that alkaline water reduced free radicals in the bloodstream, especially for special need kids. Absolutely, Shweta Sriram. So, yeah, like you mentioned, that there is that special condition for special needs kids. And again, for special need kids, also, there are many causative factors. It's not necessary that it will work for all of them. If the causative factor is some inherent heat, if there is a lot of heat, and that is why this condition has arisen for the child, then to reduce that heat, the usually heat that is excess in the body stays in our bloodstream because our blood is hot also. Any heat that is excess in our body goes and stays in our bloodstream. So even in Ayurveda, that's what's recommended. If there is a lot of heat in the body, we give herbs to remove that excess heat. We call it Rakta Prasadana, which means we're bringing blood to its own constitution, however it is supposed to be. And again, you're saying it alkaline, we would say Tikta. Tikta is bitter. So bitter is opposite to heat. Bitter, it has like a, it has cooling effect. It will reduce that inherent heat inside, and that bitter dravyas will detox, for lack of better words, I'm using that term, it will detox blood and it will restore the normal blood so that it will be very much beneficial for a special need child as well. But that is what I can tell you from Ayurveda. I'll have to do some research about the alkaline water that you were talking about, but I can talk only from Ayurveda, and that yes, we do take off excess heat from the body using bitter herbs. Can you please respond to the question about what is one drink you recommend in the morning? Okay, so I wasn't sure about if you were asking to replace your morning drink, in the morning 1 cup of warm water. So you're asking for another drink on top of the 1 cup warm water that you drink every day. So if you wake up in the morning, normally what I do is when I wake up in the morning, all my needs are taken care of. It's not necessary that I drink water or not. Sometimes if I'm thirsty, I might sip water or not. It's not necessary that I drink water. But one drink that I usually not miss is milk. I have my morning milk every day. My warm milk, I add a pinch of dry ginger powder to it, and I take that milk every morning. Usually we're fortunate enough in California that we get raw milk here. So we get raw milk and boil the milk until the milk reaches its boiling temperature. Bring it down to room temperature, or a little bit above room temperature, actually warm. Add some herbs to it, whatever you find. If you want to add a pinch of turmeric, you can add, or a pinch of elaichi, you can add a pinch of cinnamon powder and a pinch of dry ginger powder, so that digesting it will be good. And this is definitely nectar. You can choose drinking milk in the morning. That is one drink that I would definitely recommend in the morning. What is right amount of ghee for kids and adults? That's a good question, Shweta. So right amount of ghee depends on your environment. If you already have a heating body, ghee is like nectar. Ghee and milk are nectar if you have a heating body, especially what we say is a pitta constitution, right? So if you have lot of heat in the body, then ghee is definitely good. However, if you have lots of mucus, if you are having to pee a lot, if there is a lot, you're used to, generally you're prone to having mucus in the body. There's a lot of mucus in the sinus region, or there is postnasal drip. You have to urinate a lot. These kind of conditions are there, then that tells you that there is a lot of mucus. Then you might want to reduce the amount of ghee. Ghee is one thing that, even though it is oil, that is one thing that will increase your digestive fire. Just like how you add for havan, when the havan is dwindling, just a little bit dwindling, then we're asked to add ghee. When you add ghee, magically that you see that the sacrificial fire, it increases. That's exactly what happens. If you give it in correct quantity, especially along with food, if you're eating it along with food, then it increases your digestive fire and it helps break down the foods that you're eating. So I would say probably if you have a pitta personality, having 2 to 3 teaspoons is also okay. And even if you have a lot of dryness in the body, if there is a lot of vata in the body also, 2 to 3 teaspoons is okay. Again, making sure that your digestive capacity is good. But if there is a lot of mucus in the body, reducing that to probably 1 teaspoon is good until you kindle the digestive fire. Once you kindle that, then you can go back to 2 to 3 teaspoons. But yeah, good thing that you asked the right amount. One time I asked, I told one of my clients that ghee is good. Let's start ghee in your diet. I remember she got back to me saying, oh my God, I'm feeling so bad after starting ghee. I'm like, oh, that's so weird. What happened? How much ghee are you taking every day? She said she's adding 1 tablespoon with her breakfast, 2 tablespoons with her lunch, and 2 tablespoons with her dinner. I'm like, of course, if you're adding so much, you will feel worse. So the right amount is definitely very, very beneficial. And I'm glad that you asked that question. 2 to 3 teaspoons for even kids and adults is a good amount. How about turmeric in lukewarm water, Madhuri? It is not necessary that you have to take extra effort and add turmeric in lukewarm water and take it. Again, like I was talking earlier, it is okay just to take it along with your seasoning. If you're making any curry, I'm assuming that you're making curries at home. If you're making curries at home, you add the turmeric in it. And if you're taking milk, add the turmeric with it, because it is easily digestible when you give it along with some fats. If you're taking it with warm water, it might not be as efficient and it might increase more heat in the body. So I would not recommend that unless there is a specific condition that you're dealing with and you are having to take it for a certain amount of time until that condition comes to normal. Conditions like excess mucus in the body, then turmeric is good for especially not diabetes, but there is a condition called prameha in Ayurveda, which is close to diabetes. In that condition, turmeric is considered like nectar. Turmeric and amla, which is amalaki, is also considered to be the best medicine. So if you're dealing with a certain condition, yes, but for a healthy individual, it is not necessary to take extra effort and add turmeric to your lukewarm water and take it. Saroja is asking, please do explain about salads and juices only if you have time. Absolutely. So most of the times, especially if you want to lose weight, and I've seen this with a lot of people, they take a lot of effort to include salads in their diet. They take a lot of effort to include green juices in their diet, and they hate it. It's not like they would want it. They hate it, but they're doing it for health purpose, thinking that this is very healthy. However, understand that our body is made up of warm and moist environment. If you are giving this cold drinks which does not have any heat added to it, if you're cooking food, you're adding heat to it. When you add heat to it, it will be easily digestible in the body because you don't have to cook it again inside the body. It will be easily assimilated. It will easily become your tissues. If you're taking salads or if you're taking juices, your body, your digestive fire must work really hard first to heat up, cook it, then assimilate it, which means you're giving your body extra work. Not only that, with adding salads and juices, it is known that your body will have lots of the environment will be in such a way that worm infestation will be easy. And that is another reason why Ayurveda says it is not recommended to eat salads and drink juices. I've seen a lot of dryness increased with salads. And again, when you eat food, it makes a tissue, and this tissue makes another tissue until your reproductive juices. First, plasma is formed to blood all the way to reproductive juices. 7 tissues are formed in an order. Salads does not have that ability that they'll stay until you digest all the way to reproductive juices. You give food that has good fats that can sustain your digestive fire and stay all the way until it is converted all the way to your reproductive juices. So you have healthy, strong body. I hope that answered your question. And I did not take a lot of time, but I just wanted to give a gist of it. I actually have a few blogs written on salads on my website. I recommend you going and reading that. And one more question on the yogurt, please. What time of the day is it good? We nowadays are getting breakfast yogurt too, correct? So again, with Ayurveda, we have this joke that we have to have our practice next to a yogurt center, because we know we'll get a lot of clients from the yogurt center who are used to eating a lot of yogurt. But jokes apart, yes, yogurt, eating it in the daytime is okay. And that too during winter season is also okay. But if you're eating it at night, you're closing up your channels and you're not able to digest the food. You're literally closing up the channels. So it's not a good idea to eat yogurt at night. And another tip that the textbooks have given when you're eating yogurt is to mix some rock sugar with it, because it actually creates a lot of heat. Contrary to what we think, it's sour in taste and it increases heat. So to combat that heat, textbooks have recommended that you add a teaspoon of amalaki powder, amla powder, or you add a teaspoon of rock sugar along with it, and you eat only in afternoons, never at night. Naivadya nishi is what they say, never at nights. And you eat it during winter season. So that's the time you can eat yogurt. But all the other times, you can take buttermilk. That's not a problem. You can churn yogurt very much and add 6 times water, make buttermilk, and you can take that. That's not a problem. But breakfast yogurt is definitely a no-no, because there's a lot of mucus when you wake up in the body. You wouldn't want to do that. And how to know what type of body you have, vata, pitta or kapha. Sorry, too many questions. No, that's not a problem at all. You can ask me any questions that you have, and that's the reason I come out here every week to answer any questions. But yeah, that's a good question, Saroja, vata, pitta, kapha. And I don't know why there's a lot of emphasis in the West of wanting to know what body type we are. And it is a good thing. You're curious. I wanted to know when I started also, but then quickly I found out that it's not necessary to know. Our body keeps changing with age. Usually when you're at young age, until you are in your 20s, like teenage, until you're in that teenage years, you're growing. So your kapha is more, your mucus is more during that season, during that time, during that age. Afterwards, you start working, you have aspirations, you want to do things in life, which means you have heat in the body, you want to do things. That means it's the pitta time of the life. After 60 or 70, your pitta, your heat has reduced. You then want to retire. You then want to meditate, do some spiritual things, or study something for yourself, do things for yourself only. And that's the depletion time of our age, and that's the vata age. So with our age, the constitution changes, but our actual constitution that we're born with stays. It is usually dvandvaja. It could be either kapha pitta, pitta kapha, vata pitta, pitta vata, depending on what your parents are more. That is the blueprint that we get, which is dominant all the time. But depending on the seasons outside, when it is hot outside, we see that there is more pitta. When you have winter seasons, you see that there's a lot of mucus accumulation, and you see that there's kapha more. And during young age, during ages that you're growing up, kapha is more. But in general, you can see that, am I heavy built, or you just need to know what are the qualities that are more in your body. That's what I emphasize more than knowing if you're vata, pitta and kapha and just going on one diet. Oh, what's my vata diet? What's my pitta diet? It's not necessary. Just knowing what are the qualities that are increased in my body at this moment is good enough. What about salads that have olive oil dressing, like Western salads, and those that have cheeses, Ritu? Salads that have olive oil is better compared to salads that does not have anything. But cheeses is also another thing that can block your channels. So that's one more thing I would say. Depending upon your digestive fire, you can indulge on it once in a while, but you will not want to continue and use it forever as a healthy practice. That's the thing I wanted to highlight upon. Salads with olive oil is definitely better than the salads without olive oil, but that will not replace the cooked vegetables. The cooked vegetables have heat induced in them, so they will definitely be better than the salad with olive oil. But if you like the taste and if you want to eat it, eating it with olive oil is definitely better. And anything which have cheeses, I would avoid cheese also. Like I mentioned before, it will block your channels. So that's one thing that you would want to avoid. But you can indulge on them once in a while. You can have it for fun, but don't have it for health. It was a very good discussion that we had today. I'm glad that I was able to answer a few of your questions. But if you have any questions, you can certainly let me know, and we can talk about it. I usually have certain topics that I post on my Facebook page every day. I try to put something on my Facebook page, everything which has Ayurvedic principles in it, definitely. And I come out here every Friday to answer any questions particular to the posts, or if there is anything that you certainly have, any questions that you have, you can definitely check with me. But I'd recommend that you can follow my page, which is Ayurhitam, which where I give information every day, and you can reach out to me for any questions that you have further. Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Pleasure is mine, Saroja. You can definitely connect with me. All right. So that's a very good discussion we had today. Came across you. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you for joining today. You can certainly follow Ayurhitam, and you'll get more information about Ayurveda there. My mission is to spread authentic Ayurveda. I know a lot of people, health is the biggest concern. Health is something that we want to protect. And there are so many places that we're running around trying to find health. And I'm so glad that I was introduced to Ayurveda, and I wanted to give that joy to everybody. Absolutely. You too, Saroja. You have a wonderful weekend. And I hope that I can see you next week, again at the same time. Thank you all for joining, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.